Hello guys and welcome to another video. My name is Mark, I'm an entrepreneur and property investor. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get rich in 2023. And I genuinely believe that this year is one of the biggest opportunities we've seen in the last couple of years, maybe even the last decade, to get rich quickly. And I know that sounds like a bit of a scam, and it's not what we talk about on this channel at all. We talk about methodical investing. But right now, I'm seeing opportunity in order to get rich a little bit quicker. So if you like this sort of content, if you like talking about investing, please give this video a big like. It massively helps me out with the algorithm. And if you haven't already subscribed, why not consider subscribing? We have a subscriber dividend portfolio where every single month we give away the dividends to our subscribers. All you've got to do is comment and like and be a subscriber, and you'll be entered into the draw. So guys, let's talk about how to get rich in 2023 and why I believe it's a big opportunity. Now, I'm going to use two examples for this video, and I'm going to talk about two groups of people. The first group of people I'm going to talk about are those that have some money already. And the reason I'm going to talk about those first is because quite often it's easier if you've already got money. And that's true. If you've got money, it's going to be easier to invest. It's going to be easier to multiply that money. Now, where I see one of the biggest opportunities at the moment is in the property industry. Property prices are being hammered. And as we know, when you purchase a property, you have the opportunity to negotiate directly or through an agent with a seller. Now, we have recently, and when I say we, I mean me and my business partner, we've been viewing some properties in the Northamptonshire, Sheffield areas, and we have started to speak to agents and discounts are starting to become available. This is the first time in 3 years where you've been able to negotiate quite heavy discounts. 2021, you were paying over the asking price. 2020, you had an opportunity for about 3 months where there were some good discounts available, but after that, forget it. 2022, much of 2021's over asking price, and then stagnation at the end of the year. However, now, 2023, February, going into March, sellers are starting to discount their properties, not only with the asking price, but also they're starting to negotiate on the asking price. And we were sort of talking quite anecdotally with the agents to find out what sort of discounts are being accepted, considered. They were saying there's still quite a lot of stubbornness with sellers. They're still wanting to try and hold out for a bit more. There was a property, for example, that we looked at where today it's probably worth about 175 if it was done up. If you went back 3 months, 6 months maybe, it's probably closer to 200,000. So we think that the done up values come down by about 5 to 10%. However, it needs about a 25 grand reno. They had recently, in the last 3 months, rejected an offer of 155. Today, the agent said they'd have taken that. And the end value is still only 175. So for us, we were saying, well, we now need to come in at somewhere around 135 because we need to make sure there's some margin in it for it, right? If we're spending 135, 20 grand on the reno brings it to 155, done up value. 175 is a 20 grand profit, £2 of uplift for every pound we spent. That's roughly the calculations we do. And the agent said, well, they're not going to want that today, maybe in a couple of months. And I said, in a couple of months, we might want 125. So I suggest you just have that conversation with the seller and say, look, obviously where you were 3 months ago, today you take that offer, but that offer isn't forthcoming. Today's offer is around 135. Would you be interested in that? Because tomorrow's offer may be even lower. And those sort of conversations starting to take place give you opportunity. Now that's a property where you've got to do some work, but that's not necessarily where I see the biggest opportunities because those discounts seem huge, right? When you're looking at a done up value of 175 and you're saying, I'm only willing to pay 130, 135. People are looking at their property going, well, it only needs 10, 15, 20 grand because sellers are always optimistic. And ultimately, that seems very, very cheap. You're going to make a lot of money. Now, let's say the property was already done up, already in great condition. It was up for 175 and they get no offers. This is where the opportunity is. 155. That's where the opportunity is. That offer left on the table, 20 grand worth of profit or a decent amount of insulation in case the market drops, baked in. That's where I think the biggest opportunities are. Things that you don't need to do any work, don't need to take any additional risk. You can mortgage the entire amount and you can bake in some profit or some tolerance for risk immediately when you buy. This is called making money when you buy. And the bigger discount you can secure here, the more insulation you have if prices come down, but also the more profit you make when prices go up. I did this very, very successfully in 2010 with my very first property where I bought it for 176,000. It was up for 200,000. I got a good discount of over 10%. And within 2 years, it was worth 250. So these are the sort of opportunities where actually they don't come around very often. 2008 to 2010 was probably the last long-term opportunity of a couple of years. 2020, you had an opportunity of about 3 months. So you didn't have long, but if you acted then, and I did, I got a couple of properties back then, you had an opportunity there. But this, if I could go back in time to when I did it in 2020, and I saw the opportunities, and I was buying things that needed work, right? And I was getting good discounts, but I could have bought more that didn't need work and used that capital more wisely and negotiated bigger discounts and probably made more than the uplift in value that I achieved by doing the work. So my lesson from that period was if I could do it again, and in today's market, I think if you can get 10 to 20% off whatever the value of the property is, and it's quite hard to ascertain it in a falling market, but let's say, for example, you can look at the sold prices recently, add a little bit in for wiggle room, and then go maybe 10 to 20% around that. That's where you're going to make big chunks of money very, very quickly. So if we think about this deal, let's take some really nice big round figures to make it really easy for us. Let's say the property is worth 200,000 today, and we negotiate a discount of 15%, a huge discount of £30,000. So we buy it for 170,000. Now let's consider what happens on that money. So 170,000, we're going to get a 75% mortgage, and for the sake of ease, we're going to say we don't do anything more than break even on the rent. We don't do, that's too many zeros, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. We don't do anything more than break even on the rent. Now, obviously, we're going to try and make money on the rent. We're going to do HMOs. We're going to do service accommodation. We're going to make sure that rent overpays the mortgage. You know, there's lots of things we can do. But just for this example, we're going to assume we don't do anything other than break even on the rent. Well, first of all, let's work out what our deposit is. We're looking at 170,000 divided by 4. Our deposit is going to be 42,500, which means we're going to have a mortgage of 127,000. Okay, it's kind of irrelevant for this example, but you know, let's just make sure that those two numbers equal that. We know we're in the right ballpark. I know I have got my figures wrong before. Now let's consider that the market turns, and in the UK, lots of people are saying it's going to continue to go down. That might be the case. I don't know the future. One thing I do know about the future is it's in nobody's best interest for everybody to lose. It's not in anybody's best interest for interest rates to reach record highs, 10%, for all the nurses to lose their houses, for all the policemen to be on the streets, for all the teachers to not be able to afford their mortgages. Those realities are hard to picture because that isn't going to be allowed to happen. If it does and becomes a reality, then the government's in real big problems. They are going to get dethroned very quickly, probably by riots. And we know what happened in the French Revolution when you make everyone poor. It doesn't work out very well for those in power. It's just not on the table. Could everyone be a bit poorer? Absolutely. Could the people with 5% deposits get hurt? Of course. 10%? Probably. 20%? 30%? People who've been working their whole life? No, I don't think so. That is unlikely to be the outcome. And the people who create the policy have the ability to be able to manipulate this. Interest rates at the moment are trying to fight inflation. There would be a point at which you're doing more harm than good. At the end of the day, you can't control the price of some raw materials on a global scale by what you do in the UK. It's just impossible. Globally you can, but if everybody else changed tact and we're the only ones standing out trying to affect the price of oil or steel or wood by reducing our demand, it's irrelevant. America's still using it, China's still using it, it is not going to be the case. And China have already changed tack. They have already printed out more money this year, unlocked. They are not playing the same game as we are. So how long can we play this game for? So let's just play a different game. Let's play the property increases over the next 2 years by 10%. Well, this becomes worth 220,000. Suddenly, you no longer have £42,500 worth of equity. In fact, now you have the difference between here and here. You have £100,000 worth of equity. So you've doubled your money. So what you're really looking for is if you can buy at a discount of 30%, let the market take care of 10% over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it takes, you double your money. Now the question is, how many double ups do you need in order to become wealthy? Not many for people who've got a little bit of money. So this is for the person who's got some money. Now let's talk about the person who's got no money. What can they do? How can they take part in it? Well, it's no different. It is do the same thing, but partner up with people with money. So the reality is, if somebody came to me and goes, actually, maybe this deal I'm able to source. Maybe I'm able to get that myself. Maybe me and my business partner, as I said, we've been putting some offers in. Lots of things have been rejected at the moment, but it's a matter of time until things start getting accepted. And if you want to partner up with us, drop me a DM on Instagram. I'll have a chat with you. Ultimately, maybe we can get those deals. But if you came to me and said, actually, I legitimately have managed to negotiate something incredibly cheap, here's the deal, would you partner up with me? There's a high probability that as long as your figures are right, that I would. And this is how someone with no money can start to make some money quickly. Either by selling the deal on, or because at the end of the day, you can't do everything. You know, we've personally sourced in the past loads and loads of properties for other people because we can't buy everything. We found some great deals and we just can't buy it all. We don't have enough money, nobody does. So ultimately, you know, there's no way you can do it all. With someone with no money, you could either charge a fee for it, or better still, try and partner up, try and get in on the deal, try and take advantage of the equity increase over time. Maybe you do it with a family member, a friend, somebody that you know. Maybe it's a complete stranger. Either way, there are opportunities for people with no money to partner up with people with money as long as they're bringing value. And this is the key thing. What are you bringing to the table? Now, if you're bringing me a deal that I've already got, then there's no point, is there? If you're already bringing me something that I can source myself, there's very little point. But if you're bringing expertise, if you're bringing the ability to be able to source something, if you're bringing a negotiated deal, if you're bringing a hand-holding experience because you've done it before, there's lots of things that you could bring to the table that would mean that somebody would pay you a fee or partner up with you. So I genuinely believe 2023, property is the way that anybody can get wealthy. And I think negotiating discounts is going to be where it's at. Guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm massively interested. What do you think about 2023? Do you think we're going to continue to drop? Do you think that there's going to be a glimmer of hope? Do you think property prices will increase? You know my predictions. I predicted the FTSE 100 at some point this year would reach 8,000. It already has. It's dropped down a little bit today, but at the end of the day, it did reach 8,000. I also said I think property prices will probably end the year on a positive. I think they'll come down a little bit further, maybe another 5%, and then they'll start going back up. So I think that property prices will probably turn a corner this year. I think interest rates in Q3 and Q4 this year will start to drop. The market does as well. Fixed rates are now lower than the Bank of England rates if you look at a 5-year. So the market's betting on that as well. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, guys.